Hello there. Welcome to Midnight Science. I'm so glad you're here tonight. Before we begin, just get comfortable. Maybe you're in bed right now or curled up on the couch. Wherever you are, just let yourself settle in. Tonight's not about learning everything there is to know about the universe. It's just about drifting off with something beautiful to think about. And tonight, we're talking about something that sounds dramatic, but is actually surprisingly calm. What happens when galaxies collide? Take a deep breath. Let's begin. When you hear the word collision, what comes to mind? Car crashes, maybe, loud noises, destruction. But out in space, collisions are different. Imagine two enormous cities made of light, drifting toward each other, not crashing, just drifting. So slowly that if you were standing in one of them watching, you wouldn't even notice. That's what it's like when galaxies collide. Galaxies are huge. Our own Milky Way, for example, contains somewhere between 200 and 400 billion stars. That's billion with a B. Each one of those stars is like our sun, and many have their own planets orbiting around them. Now imagine another galaxy, just as big, slowly approaching ours. Over millions, hundreds of millions of years, they drift closer, pulled together by gravity. That invisible force that keeps your feet on the ground is the same force that draws galaxies together across unimaginable distances. And here's the beautiful part. When they finally meet, the stars don't actually hit each other. Space is just so empty, so vast. Even in a galaxy packed with billions of stars, the distances between them are enormous. If you shrunk the sun down to the size of a marble, the nearest star would be another marble, hundreds of kilometers away. So when galaxies pass through each other, the stars just glide by, like two clouds of fireflies drifting through one another on a summer night. No crashes, no explosions, just a slow, graceful dance. Okay, so if the stars don't collide, what does happen? Well, even though the stars themselves stay safe, the galaxies change. Gravity pulls at them, stretching their shapes. Beautiful long tails of starlight arc out into space like ribbons unfurling in slow motion. Sometimes bridges of light form between the two galaxies, glowing threads connecting them across the darkness. It's honestly one of the most beautiful things you can see through a telescope. And then there's the gas. Between the stars, galaxies are filled with clouds of gas and dust. When galaxies collide, these clouds do bump into each other. And when they do, something amazing happens. They compress, squeeze together, and when gas compresses in space, it can collapse under its own gravity and ignite. New stars are born, thousands of them, sometimes millions, blazing with bright, youthful blue light. So collisions don't destroy galaxies. They wake them up, give them new life. It's like shaking a snow globe. Everything gets stirred up, and suddenly the whole thing sparkles with fresh energy. Our own future. Now, here's where it gets personal. Our Milky Way galaxy, It's actually on a collision course with our nearest big neighbor, the Andromeda Galaxy. Right now, Andromeda is about 2.5 million light years away. That's far, really far. But it's heading toward us at about 110 kilometers per second. In about 4 billion years, we're going to meet. Now, I know what you're thinking. 4 billion years? That's not exactly soon. To put it in perspective, 4 billion years ago, Earth was just starting to develop its first simple life forms. Since then, entire continents have formed and moved. Mountains have risen and eroded away. Dinosaurs came and went. And humans showed up only in the last tiny sliver of that time. So yeah, we've got a while. By the time the Milky Way and Andromeda meet, the sun will have changed. Earth might not even be habitable anymore. Our entire species, if we're still around, will probably be living somewhere completely different. But it's still kind of amazing to think about, isn't it? Imagine just for a moment that you could be there when it happens. Not us, obviously. But imagine some future civilization billions of years from now, watching from a planet somewhere in the Milky Way as Andromeda approaches. At first, it would just be a faint smudge of light in the night sky, like it is now, actually, if you look the right direction on a dark night. But over millions of years, that smudge would grow, brighter, larger. Eventually, Andromeda would fill the sky, a massive spiral of stars, its arms stretching across the heavens. And then they would overlap. The two galaxies would pass through each other, stars from Andromeda drifting past stars from the Milky Way, tidal tails of light arcing out into space. New stars would ignite in brilliant bursts wherever gas clouds collided. The sky would be unrecognizable, filled with light and motion, even though that motion would be so slow that a single human lifetime wouldn't be enough to see it change. Constellations would slowly dissolve, new patterns would form. It would be breathtaking. Oh, and there's one more thing. At the center of almost every large galaxy, including ours, there's a supermassive black hole. Don't worry, it's not as scary as it sounds. These black holes are huge, yes. Millions, sometimes billions of times the mass of the sun. But they're also surprisingly quiet most of the time. Ours, called Sagittarius A star, just sits there at the center of the Milky Way, peacefully minding its own business. Andromeda has one too. And when the galaxies merge, eventually, billions of years down the line, those two black holes will spiral toward each other, closer and closer, until they finally meet. And when they do, they'll release a burst of energy so powerful that it will send ripples through the very fabric of space and time itself. Gravitational waves. Einstein predicted them, and we've actually detected them now, from smaller black holes colliding far away. But when supermassive black holes merge, that's a cosmic event on a whole different scale. Still, from Earth, or wherever anyone is watching, it'll just be another quiet moment in a very, very long process. After all that drama, all those beautiful arcs of light and bursts of star formation, the galaxies finally settle down. Over billions more years, they blend into one. The delicate spiral arms of both galaxies, those graceful sweeping curves, gradually get twisted and torn apart. What emerges is something different, rounder, smoother, an elliptical galaxy, not as flashy as a spiral, maybe, but still beautiful, still glowing with the light of hundreds of billions of stars, and quiet. By then, most of the gas will have been used up. Star formation will slow down. The galaxy will shine with a softer, redder light, the light of older, cooler stars. It'll be peaceful, like a city that was once bustling and chaotic, now settled into a calm, steady rhythm. Some people have even given this future galaxy a name, Milkomeda, a blend of Milky Way and Andromeda. Kind of a nice name, actually. So, what does all of this mean for us? Honestly, nothing to worry about. The collision of the Milky Way and Andromeda is so far in the future that it's almost abstract. By the time it happens, everything we know will have changed beyond recognition. The sun will have expanded into a red giant, possibly swallowing the inner planets. Our solar system might get flung into a different part of the galaxy, or maybe out into a tidal tail. But you know what probably won't happen? The Earth getting smashed by another star. The odds of that are just vanishingly small. So when you hear galactic collision, don't picture disaster. Picture transformation, renewal, beauty emerging from change. Because that's really what it is. Galactic collisions remind us of something important. The universe moves slowly. So as you settle in tonight, think about those galaxies, drifting through space, slowly approaching each other, not crashing, just meeting. Their stars gliding past one another, new light sparking where gas clouds touch, long tails of starlight arcing out into the darkness. It's happening right now, all over the universe. Galaxies dancing with each other in slow motion. And it's beautiful. There's no rush, no chaos, just the quiet unfolding of cosmic time. So close your eyes, breathe slowly, and let yourself drift like a star in a galaxy, safe and serene through the gentle darkness. The universe is vast, patient, and tonight it's cradling you in its slow, eternal rhythm. Good night. you.